violin string symbolized Izzy's independent and isolated personality. This was her prevailing identity when she was introduced in the beginning of the book, and that is why it's near the bottom of the pack. Izzy didn't connect with her siblings, and they would insult her constantly, so she would go up into her room and practice her violin. On page 40, the text mentions that while her siblings adored watching Jerry Springer, she found the show idiotic and barricaded herself upstairs practicing her violin. It is obvious that Izzy doesn't fit in with the personalities of the other Richardsons and is outcast within the family. Elena was such a radar mom to her for her childhood that she internally strived for her own independent actions at this point. Bread with butter and sugar on it symbolized the beginning of the relationship between Izzy and Mia. Mia had just begun to work at the Richardsons when she met Izzy one morning because she had been suspended from school. Izzy assumed she would have heard of her reputation as a quote-unquote crazy one in the family and acts cold towards her. Her mood completely changed when Mia offers her a sandwich with butter and sugar, which she would give to Pearl at times when she was feeling down. Izzy saw the act as just doing something nice for her, not out of pity for her, which normally is behind any gesture she's received. After she ate it, she opened up to me about the story of how she got suspended. This was a major shift in Izzy's character, for she was isolated and tended not to reach out and share with others. With Mia, Izzy finally felt understood and accepted by somebody, so she began to spend a lot more time with her. The toothpicks are symbolic of Izzy's rebellious nature and strive for justice. Izzy's music teacher at school, Miss Peters, picked on a student that always treated Izzy nicely, so Izzy snapped and broke the teacher's bow in retaliation. This landed her a one-day suspension that led her to meet Mia. When she told her this story, Mia asked her, "What are you going to do about it?" On page 79, she describes how her mother had controlled so much of her life and she had been shut down by so many of her peers. She didn't believe that she had the ability to do anything that would create any change in her life. This philosophy shifted when Mia stated to her that she can't just target a single person when trying to get away with revenge and get justice. This prompted her to devise a plan to stick toothpicks in every teacher's door so that they would be unable to open their doors to start class. This was the first time that somebody had understood her mischievous ways, and had a similar approach to things in their own life. The toothpick advice solidified Izzy's captivation of Mia and led to her asking to be Mia's assistant. The matches symbolize Izzy's disconnect and hatred with her family and former life in Shaker Heights. After hearing about Mia and Pearl moving, she began to think about how unfair it was they had to leave. Izzy thought about what each person in her family had done to contribute to driving the Warrens out of town and found guilt in all of them. Like many other things, she took action, and throughout the book, Izzy saw this as an injustice and felt like she had to do something about it. She began to think about the impossibility of going back to the ordered life in her family that she had lived prior to meeting Mia. On page 324, she thought of the time Mia told her, "Sometimes you need to burn everything to the ground and start over." Izzy felt that the only way to live a better life and fix the flaws of her family was to burn their home to the ground, so they would be forced to start over. After she doused the house in gasoline, she lit a match and burned her former life to the ground. The backpack symbolizes Izzy's future away from her former life and home. On page 324, the text states that Izzy had only a backpack stuffed with a change of clothes and all her money. As she ran out of her house, she just set on fire. This was all that she took with her from her old life before she started the search for a new life, a life in which she would feel accepted and loved by living with the Warrens. She knew that she couldn't go back to her former, strictly ordered life, so she decided to leave for good. Although she doesn't take many physical items with her, she brings all the memories of her and Mia that have helped shape who she has become at this point. She is no longer the isolated girl that has no voice to take control of her own life and make changes. Izzy's development shows us that the picture-perfect life with order and rules represented by her home and all of Shaker Heights is not the best life for everybody to live.